Right now, there is a hidden housing crisis unfolding across the United States, and it does not look like what most people expect. It is not always visible on street corners or in official counts. It is happening in parking lots, in motels, in overcrowded apartments, in cars parked quietly at the edge of grocery stores, and in homes where multiple families are squeezed together because nobody can afford to live alone. This is not a crisis that only affects people who have lost everything. It is increasingly affecting people who still have jobs, still show up to work, and still try to appear normal while they are losing their homes. The truth is, homelessness in America no longer arrives like a single catastrophic event. It does not always start with a layoff, a prison sentence, or years of obvious decline. More often, it begins with something small. A rent increase that feels manageable at first. A car repair that stretches the budget. A medical bill that lands at the wrong time. A reduction in work hours that nobody planned for. Any one of these things on its own, most households could absorb. But when they stack, the cushion disappears. And once the cushion is gone, the next problem does not land on something solid. It lands on air. That is the pattern researchers are seeing more and more. The fastest growing homeless population in the United States is now made up of people who are still working. Teachers, healthcare workers, delivery drivers, retail employees, warehouse staff, and even some dual-income families are finding that steady work no longer guarantees a stable place to live. They are not in shelters because they are afraid of losing their jobs, their children, or any chance of getting approved for another apartment in the future. So they stay hidden, they sleep in cars, they rotate between friends' couches, they live in extended stay motels 1 week at a time. They tell their neighbors everything is fine, and most people around them never notice. This invisibility is not an accident. There is real pressure behind it. Telling an employer about housing instability can risk the job. Listing a prior eviction or shelter stay on a rental application can create a record that blocks future housing. Admitting the truth to family can mean judgment, shame, or loss of support. So people perform stability. They dress carefully. They keep their cars clean. They make sure they show up on time. They use gym memberships for showers. They use libraries for internet and a quiet place for their kids to do homework. They build intricate daily routines just to look like they live somewhere normal. That performance makes the crisis harder to see, measure, and respond to. The actual scale of what is happening is almost certainly larger than any government agency, nonprofit, or media organization currently sees. Underneath that invisibility is a structural failure that made all of this possible. Housing costs have climbed far faster than wages for years. In many places, rent now takes more than half of what a typical worker brings home. That leaves very little room for groceries, gas, insurance, phone bills, and unexpected expenses. When housing is treated more like an investment than a basic need, normal working people get squeezed. Corporate landlords, short-term rentals, and zoning restrictions all play a part in reducing the supply of affordable homes. That means fewer options for families, students, and workers who are trying to stay stable. And when options shrink, people adapt. They move in with relatives, they take on extra roommates, they drive farther to work, and for a growing number, they sleep in their cars. The eviction process itself is financially brutal. The security deposit is gone. Moving costs hit at the exact moment when money is already gone. Credit checks and background checks become barriers that are hard to clear once someone has been forced out. That creates a trap. Once you fall, the system is designed in a way that makes climbing back out extremely difficult. Many people end up in extended stay motels, paying weekly rates that add up to far more than a normal monthly rent over time. Families spending that money are not building any rental history, any lease record, or any path towards saving for a deposit. It is a financial trap sitting inside a housing trap. Couchsurfing at the scale this crisis has created carries its own serious weight. Multiple families squeezed into spaces because no one can afford to live on their own. Relationships crack. Partnerships fall apart. Kids lose consistency, routine, and quiet. That damage does not fade quickly. Housing researchers believe the true population dealing with homelessness or serious housing instability is substantially larger than any official count captures. It includes everyone temporarily staying with a family member in a home that cannot really support them. Everyone in an extended stay motel who is 1 week's bill away from having nowhere to go. The person sleeping in a parking structure before their morning shift. The family rotating through different friends' homes every few weeks because they have no lease. These are large populations completely invisible to the official number. There is also a geographic dimension to this crisis. Jobs are not always where affordable housing is. In some areas, the only places with work are the same places with the highest rents. In other areas, affordable housing exists, but there are no jobs nearby, or the commute is too long and too expensive. That forces people into impossible choices. Live close to work and pay too much. Live far away and spend too much on gas and time. Or live in the car and try to survive both. None of these choices are good. They are just different versions of strain. Medical debt makes the problem worse fast. One hospitalization, one emergency room visit, one unexpected procedure can push a household that was already tight over the edge. When housing costs go up, the only move is subtraction. Cut food, cut medication, cut heat until there is nothing left to cut. That kind of pressure does not announce itself. It does not arrive as a single obvious crisis. It builds slowly, month after month, inside millions of households until something breaks. And when it breaks, the consequences ripple far beyond the individual family. The ripple effects go beyond housing numbers. When people delay getting married, delay having kids, delay relocating for a better opportunity, delay starting a business, those delays move through every part of the economy. The household formation that drives furniture purchases, appliance sales, neighborhood investment, local business, simply does not happen at the scale it used to. That slows growth in ways that are hard to see, but very real. It shows up in emergency room visits instead of preventive care. In jail stays substituting for mental health treatment. In children whose futures get shaped by housing disruption before they ever have a chance. In seniors spending their last years in parking lots. There is another layer that makes this crisis even more dangerous. The assumptions that used to guide American life are failing. The assumption that working full-time means you have a place to live, that Social Security means you can afford to retire, that the safety net catches people before they fall all the way. In many cases, those promises are no longer true. People are following the rules, working hard, and still ending up in cars, in motels, in overcrowded homes. That contradiction is what makes this so unsettling. It is not just a problem for a distant group of people. It is a warning about how fragile stability has become for everyone. The people living through this feel enormous pressure to stay quiet about it. They stay out of the shelter system because they are afraid it could cost them their job, their custody of their kids, or any chance of renting again in the future. They hide their situation from neighbors, from co-workers, from teachers, from doctors. They do not want to be seen as failures. But the truth is that this is not a personal failure. It is a system failure. Work no longer guarantees stability the way it used to. A full-time job does not automatically mean you can afford a home. A college degree does not automatically mean you can afford rent. And a clean record does not automatically mean you can pass every housing requirement. That is a hard reality for people who believe that if they did everything right, they would be okay. There is also the issue of how cities respond. Some cities try to help. They create safe parking programs, allow overnight parking in certain areas, or provide resources for people living in vehicles. But those programs are often limited, underfunded, or temporary. Other cities take a harder approach. They ticket, tow, or ban overnight parking. They make it illegal to sleep in a car in certain zones. They treat the symptom instead of the cause. That does not solve the problem. It just moves it around. When people are pushed out of one area, they go to another. When they lose a parking spot, they find a new one. When they get a fine they cannot pay, it becomes another barrier to getting back into housing. That cycle makes everything worse. Another layer is the way this crisis is invisible to many people. Most Americans do not see it because the people living in cars often try to stay hidden. They park in quiet areas. They keep their windows covered. They do not draw attention to themselves. They do not want to be noticed. They do not want to be judged. They do not want to be told to move. So from the outside, everything looks normal. The streets look fine. The neighborhoods look stable. The economy looks okay. But underneath, there is a growing number of people who are one step away from total collapse. That is why awareness matters. This is not a fringe issue. It is not a small problem. It is a sign that something in the system is broken. When full-time workers cannot afford housing, that is not just their problem. That is everyone's problem. When students have to choose between rent and textbooks, that is not just their problem. That is a sign that the path to a better life is getting narrower. When parents have to hide their situation from their children, that is not just their problem. That is a sign that the safety net is not strong enough. And when millions of people are sleeping in cars every night, that is not just a statistic. That is a warning. Because if this can happen to them, it can happen to more people. The line between stable housing and vehicle living is thinner than most people think. One job loss, one medical emergency, one rent increase, one broken relationship. That is all it takes. And once someone is on the outside, it is very hard to get back in. That is why this issue deserves more attention, more honesty, and more pressure for real change. It is not enough to say people should work harder. Many of them already are. It is not enough to say they should save more. Many of them have nothing left to save. It is not enough to say they should move somewhere cheaper. Many of them cannot afford to move at all. What is needed is a deeper look at why housing has become so expensive, why wages have not kept up, and why the system allows this level of instability to exist in the first place. Because as long as those conditions remain, more people will end up in cars. And the next time you drive past a parked van at night, or see an RV in a rest area, or notice a car with someone sleeping inside, remember that this is not just a random scene. This is a symptom of a larger crisis. This is what happens when the cost of living outpaces the ability to live. This is what happens when work no longer guarantees a home. This is what happens when housing becomes a financial asset instead of a human need. And the real question is not whether these people will find a way to survive. The real question is whether the system will change before more people are forced into this position. If this made you think differently, share it with someone who still believes full-time work is enough to guarantee a stable home in America today.